Hi everybody, so today we will study about map functions in Arduino. So in the previous videos you might have seen we have to change values to from one range to another range. So if you remember our analog outputs, so first we studied about analog inputs and then analog outputs. What we had to do is we were capable of getting analog values from 0 to 1023, that means 1024 units. But when it comes to giving analog outputs, we are not capable of giving 0 to 1023 1023 units. No, we are not capable of doing it. Instead, what we can do is we can only give output that is going from 0 to 255, that means 256 units. So the thing is, when it comes to input, we are capable of taking 1024 values, right, numbers. And when it comes to analog output, both analog, right, analog output, we are only capable of giving 256 units. So it is because of some timer issues. Let's not get into that now. This is okay. Suppose you are getting an analog input from an analog switch, analog what do you call some analog switch kind of values or preset values that can be rotatable, and you directly pass to that analog value to the input value to the analog output value. Okay, so what that actually means is if the analog input is in its maximum, that means 1024, not 1024, 1023, right? 1024 units mean 1023 because it starts from 0. So then the analog input is in 1023, then the respective analog output for that is 255, because in regard of the analog input, 1023 is the maximum value. In regard of the analog output, 255 is the maximum value. You get the point. So like that, if you are giving 50%, that means half, 512 or 511, when it comes to input, the particular output has to be this half of this maximum value, like 128 or 127 or something. So that kind of thing we have to do, right? So from this input range, okay, we have to change to this output range. So if you remember, in one of my previous videos in the analog input and analog output series, in the same playlist, you might have noted I am using an equation for that, right? So what I actually did is I used an equation that can take that analog input value. Let's say I'm just writing, let's say x is the analog input value and your analog output value is going to be y. Okay, so whatever the particular input value, the respective, whatever the proportionate analog output value we have to give. So you get the point, right? So if x is getting the half of this total, y also should be the half of this total. So like that. Okay, if x is at the maximum 1023, y should be 255. Like that we have to change the range. So for that I gave you an equation. So how to change x to y? You may remember that is like y is equal to x plus 1. Okay, how to have the division key? You wonder, okay, by 4, then the total, the answer should be should subtract 1, right, minus 1. This has to be like this. Okay, so this will actually convert the 0 to 1023 range to 255. So you can replace the values and validate these. Okay, so this is an equation, but it takes some time, right, to derive this equation. We add plus 1 to the value and we divide it by 4 because the range is actually 4, because this x is 4 times greater than y, right? Then we have to have minus 1 because it starts from 0. Things like that we have to do. So you may feel like this is a little uncomfortable. So there is a way to do it in a nice manner, right? That is what we call map. So basically what we have to do is, okay, I will remove all these things. What we have to do is, come on guys, okay, what we have to do is, the value is in the range of 0 to 1023. This range should be changed to another range, that is 0 to 255. You understand? So if I did this, so if the x range is 0 to 1023, the particular y range for that should be 0 to 255. So this is what we are trying to do, right? So there is some function called map function. So first we will take this analog inputs and we will try to add that function. Okay, so what I will do is I will drop it down. So I will first say to integer variable I will declare two values, int x and then int y. Okay, then what we have to do is we have to say the input, right? So let's say I'm using a0 to take the analog input to x. Okay, so as usual we go in pin mode, so you know those things. Pin mode a0 output. It's beautiful, right? It's cool. So now okay, this is fine. Okay, that's fine. So and also yeah, let's keep it that way. Okay, so what we will do is we will use analog read a0, right? a0, and we'll assign the value to x. So you know those things, right? We studied it in the previous videos, so many times we studied it. Okay, so that's fine because x, now the x range will be, I will notify this 0 to 1023. So now we will serial print the x value so that we can know it. Serial dot println, I'm sorry, serial dot begin exactly 9600. This is something you know. This is fine. So now we have to derive y. So to derive y, I had an equation earlier, so that equation also I will write here. So x plus I'm sorry, it's not a big deal, come on guys, x plus 1 by 4, okay, minus 1. Okay, then you get the y value, right? Then you can serial print the y value or something. Or let's serial print first. Let's serial print both values at the end. Okay, so serial dot println. Okay, so first this will be x and then this will be y. Okay, serial dot. So now if you give if you give an analog input to x, wait, okay, some way like you connect a preset variable resistor. So I told you how to do that, and you take that input to a0 and then x0 will be giving you the x value, right? So then you rotate it using a screwdriver or tester or something. So if you increase the value, so bring to the maximum, so it will be 1023. If you decrease if you rotate it the other way around in the decreasing side, and if you bring it to the lowest point, this will be, that means the preset, the value will be 0. So x will get those values and accordingly y also will get the values. So if x is in 1023, obviously y will be in 255. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you have to go and watch my one of that video has this explanation about analog input and analog output. So you have to watch all the series of all the videos where we talked about analog input and analog outputs. So then you will understand what I am talking about. So this equation will properly return the proper y values respect to the x values. Okay, so then we will print the x and y, so they will print one by one. So if you keep it at the maximum, you will see x is 1023 and y is 255. If it is keeping this rotation level at 50%, then if x is 511, let's say 50%, then y will be 127, if I am correct. Okay, so things like that half, that means half percentage. If you keep it at 25%, then still x value you will get for that, and the y value also correct, that might be correct most probably. You can even replace in the equation and see the values, right? Not most probably, that will be correct. So then you will print the values and you will see, okay, these are correct. So if you since this x and y are coming continuously, then you may sometimes confuse what is x and what is y. So what you can do is, if you want, you can have a mark. So what I am going to do is actually I should again serial print, and I will have some kind of like indication, so where it starts, something like that. So when the stars, the marks of the stars coming, then that means the next is X. So again at the end, you don't need to have it at the end. Okay, let's have it at the end so that you don't confuse on that. So okay, so in between two these border lines, that is in marked with the star value, so ASCII asterisk values, okay, you will have X and Y values. So whatever comes first after the star, the star lines, you can understand that is X, and the next one will be Y. Okay, so every star will give you a separate piece of this iteration, X and Y values, pair values. Okay, so there will not be any confusion. So now this is not our task. So our task is now let's not use this equation, right? So what you can do is there's something called map function. Okay, so I will comment this. How to comment? Okay, fine. There's something called map function. Okay, that function will return a value, or that value you can assign to X. Okay, then it will give you the same, do the same work whatever you want to do with an equation. Okay, so the rule of the map function is, okay, so this is the most important part of this video. So there's a rule for the map function. So first you have to pass the value that has to be processed. Okay, so first you have to pass the value, the whatever your input or initial value. Okay, then you have to give the initial range. So what is the minimum and maximum values? So in our initial range 0 and 1023. Okay, and X is our initial value because we are going to take X and we are going to convert into Y using map function. Okay, because we want to have the ranges as we wish. So after that, so first you have to give the lowest value of the initial range. Okay, so 0 to 1023. So what is the lowest value? 0. So 0. Okay, then put a comma and give the highest value. Okay, so now you are done. Not done, that one part is done. You took that input value X and you gave the initial range of the value, that means X range. So then final value we are going to assign to Y, right, because we are going to convert X to Y, right, using map function. So then we have to give that expected range. So this range, that means this range should be changed into which range? Okay, so the next two value will be the what do you call, minimum and maximum values of the output range, expected range. So our expected range is 0 to 255. So what we will do is we will pass the lowest and highest values in the proper order. Okay, that means from this to this we have to convert. Okay, so this range, the range that is from 0 to 1023 should be converted to the range that is from 0 to 255. That's all the rule. Okay, so then the map function will convert and return the value. So what is the return value? That should be Y, because we take X and we convert it to Y, right? So Y is the return value because Y is the output value, analog output value we are going to give. So now if you want to validate, you can do the same code and you can see almost the same outputs are coming. That means whatever the respective outputs are coming. For 1023 of X value are getting 255. For 0, obviously you will get 0. For half of the 1023, are you getting half of the 255? Things like that. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So this rule of the map function is will be something like this. Okay, so first we will have, so this is not complete. Here we shouldn't have value, so instead of value we have X. X is our value, right? So that's correct, right? Get the point. So we'll have, where is this thing, value, and we call it to from value. Okay, so I mean from which value you are going to start. Okay, your initial value, and sorry, not to from low. So from low, I think we will not have enough space, so let's write like initial in low value. Okay, then again initial high value, initial range high value. Okay, I will write hi. Okay, then again final fi. Okay, low value, I will write low. Okay, space because of the space issue. No, low value. Okay, that's fine. Then again final high value, that means highest limit. Okay, So that is the values you are going to pass, and it will return whatever your expected incomes. Okay, so I hope you can understand. You can change the values and see what happens. If you want to change the range in the other way around, you can still do it. Like you can change it 0 to 1023 to 0 to 100 still. So this will get the particular range and give you the correct feed. So it's up to you, but for our purpose, since we have for output 0 to 255 and for input 0 to 1023, so we go for that, right? And you can simply test the values using the same code, printing x and y values. So now let's see, you know something about LED. We can fade LEDs, right? Normally using analog output, but we normally connect the LED to a digital pin. I don't know whether it will, we can connect it to analog pin. You can give it a try on that. But I out of my habit, I normally connect an LED to digital pin, and we can give the analog output to the LED. Okay, because if you don't understand, go and watch my previous analog output videos, and most probably I might have tried it with these. I'm not sure with these digital pins. Okay, so I think analog pin also might work for giving that analog output for an LED, but we have to check it out, right? You can connect and check. So I will connect an LED to pin number 13. Okay, and I will say output. Okay, so this is a beautiful thing. I will say output. Now what I will do is this x value, right, analog input value, I am going to pass it to x what do you call LEDs LED. That means I am going to fade the LED value, right? That means if analog 0 is a 0, LED will be having 0 values, because you know about the analog write, right? You remember this? We can do analog write to LEDs. I told you this. Okay, so analog write 13, and you can give some random values 0. It will be completely off. And also because this range is analog write means analog output range is 0 to 255. So 255 is our maximum value. So if you give 255, LED will be in its full brightness. That means like giving the high output in the digital write. So if you want to give the half brightness, you can have the half value 127. LED will be in the half brightness. Like that you can increase and decrease LED values with random values, but minimum is 0, maximum is 255. So what I am going to do is I am taking the x analog input values, and I am going to give that output according to the input value. That means if you are like you remember the volume buttons in radios, like that. So you are rotating that whatever your preset or variable resistor, that round one, and if you are rotating one side, the LED brightness is slowly going down. If you are rotating the other side, the LED brightness will slowly increasing. So that means you are taking the analog input from that whatever that preset or variable resistor, and accordingly you are controlling your LED's brightness. So we are going to fade the LED using the variable resistor, right? Analog input. So simply I am taking the analog input values from 0 to 1023. Then I have to convert it to 0 to 255, and I have to pass it as an analog output. Obviously this is what I have to do, because when the maximum value 1023 is there, we have to have 255 here. You get the point? And when it's when the minimum, the half value 1511 is there, we should have 127 here, because this is the half of this. So then only the LED will synchronize with the analog input. You understand what I'm talking about? So simply what you have to do is you have to convert the x to x range to the whatever what we want range. Let's say you take the x value, input value, and you have to convert its range to the required range 0 to 255. So you can do it with this equation as well. Okay, so now we have the map function. So first what we do is we take this analog input and we have to convert, as we have seen earlier. So 0 to 1023 should be convert to 0 to 255. So now we have the exact particular y value that is in respect to the x value. Okay, so respective y value for the x value we have now. So simply we have the pass the y value here. You understand? So for the 0 and 1023 range, for the analog input range, we are going to give the particular 0 to 255 analog output range we are going to give. Okay, so then simply we pass the y value. So that is a y value, right? Pass the y value into analog, right? So then if it is in full analog input 1023, it will be 255. If it is in the half 512, it will be 127. Let's say if it is in the 25%, this also will be in the 25%, like 63 or something. 25% of 256 is 64, so we minus 1 that, right? So it's 63. Like that, the analog value will change accordingly and the LED will work according to the input. You get the point? If you don't get the point, you have to rewatch the video, you will understand. So we are passing the y because already we serial print the y value for x. So we simply take x value, convert it to y, and we pass the y value, and you can replace the y value and see. Okay, so this is what you can do. So you can simply connect an analog input preset variable here, variable resistor here, A0, and you connect an LED here, and you upload the code, and you can see the code, see what happens. So you can ignore these comments like this double slash, the green color thing, green color letters you can ignore, those are just comments, and you can write other code and you can run and have a look. So simply you can control an LED in a nice manner. Okay, so using map function, so that's the most important part of this. So I will scroll down this code so that you can have a look slowly. Okay, so you can pause the video and write down the code or take a picture, and you can upload and have a look and see what happens. So when you connect the LED to the pin number 13, the better idea is having a resistor. Okay, like you can have a 330 ohm resistor or something. Okay, this is fine. Also, if you want to, I want to tell something else. If you want to convert a value to another range, let's say you have one range from just an extra thing, you have one range from 0 to 100, and if you want to change the range to 0 to 10, you can simply write another map function, right? So how to write a map function? So you can assign it to a variable. Let's say a. I'm just writing. Okay, a is equal to, you can write a map what is the initial value? You can give whatever the value you want. I will, let's say, give a value like 50. Okay, this is the value, right? Then I have to give the lowest range 0 to 100, and I have to give the highest range, sorry, not lowest range, initial range 0 to 100, and I have to give the expected range, that means 0 to 10. No, yep. What is it? Why is this not working? My god. 0 to 100 I have to convert to 0 to 10, so I can give the expected range. So what will the map will return is, first one is the value, right? So 50 is the 50 is the input value. So for 0 to 100 means initial range, so that means the input value is now laying in the initial range. I have to change it to the expected range 0 to 10. So you can remember, for the range of 0 to 100, 50 means for the range of 0 to 10 it is 5. You understand that? So this map function will return 5. Okay, so if you want, you can assign x, let's say another value like b as 50. Okay, and you can pass b here, all same. Okay, it will return 5. So you have to define those values, integer b50, like that. So I just wanted to understand how the map function works. Okay, so focus on that, guys. So I will remove this part as we don't need this, but you should understand how it works. So let's say if I'm passing 20 here, for 20, for the range of 0 to 100 will be, for the range of 0 to 10 it will be 2. So the a will be 2. Okay, understood? So you can assign 20 to b, and you can pass b also, it's up to you. So since you understand, that's fine. So I will remove that part. So I think we can do one more practical in the next video in the map function if possible. So until then, have a great day ahead, guys. If you don't understand, go through the video once again. Go through the analog read and analog write parts of my previous videos so that you can get full idea. Yeah, that's it. So only actually the extra thing we studied is only the map function, nothing else. Everything else we have seen in the previous videos. So thanks for joining, guys. Have a great day ahead, and consider subscribing us. Thank you.